The Tennessee Titans have a brutal first month of the season, and we're going to see what they're made of early. I'm breaking down the entire schedule on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, on today's show, we are going to break down the 2025 Tennessee Titans schedule. We have the entire schedule now. We know every game, where it's at, what order they're in. I'm going to go over this difficult stretch to start the season for the Titans, why the middle of the season is going to tell us the truth about this team, and talk about how the Titans can build serious momentum for 2026 in the back end of the schedule. Before I dive into all of it, though, I do want to thank you for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. If you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one. The NFL season never sleeps. We got Tennessee Titans OTAs next week. We got minicamp right around the corner, and then training camp will be here before you know it. So make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the #1 Tennessee Titans podcast in the world, Locked On Titans. But with that being said, let's go through game by game and just give my raw initial thoughts on every single matchup. We talked about the #1 matchup of the season, week 1 on the road against the Denver Broncos. In one of my short videos, guys, this is a very, very difficult start to the season for the Tennessee Titans. I talked about the numbers online. I talked about it in my short video. 39-1 is the Denver Broncos at home in week 1. Now, in recent years, like the last 6 years or so, they've lost a couple of these week 1 home games for sure. But we add in, it's very difficult to play in Denver because of the elevation and because it's early in the season and guys aren't in shape and ready to go to play in that elevation at that time. But add that to, this Denver Broncos team is not a bad Denver Broncos team. This is a good Denver Broncos team with a very good coach and a quarterback that's going into year 2. My thing is, I wanted to play teams at the beginning of the season for the Titans that were also brand new teams with a new quarterback or a new coach, things like that. But Denver is a team with incredible continuity and cohesiveness. They're going to rock immediately from last year into this year, and playing them in Denver, that is just a very difficult matchup for week 1. And let me also say, 3 straight years now, I believe, the Titans have started week 1 on the road. I hate that. That's annoying for me. That really bothers me that the Titans have started 3 straight seasons on the road. Like, that's terrible. And I wish I could tell you that week 2 was easier, but it's not. It's just absolutely not. The Titans get the Los Angeles Rams at home in Cam Ward's home debut. Look, the Rams were a great playoff team last year. The Rams are one of the top 8 teams in the entire NFL. Like, that is difficult. And again, it's another team with great cohesion, great connectiveness, and great continuity with a quarterback and a coach that have been together for years. Puka Nacua has plenty of time in the system with this 2 years. They add Devontae Adams, which is difficult, and they have a very good defensive line. So it's like, dang, man, these are tough matchups for the Titans out of the gate. Really difficult for Cam Ward. Then you get to week 3, and we get a game that I think is incredibly winnable, and quite frankly, it's one of the must-win games of the season, in my opinion. It is week 3 at home against the Indianapolis Colts. The Tennessee Titans need to be better than the Indianapolis Colts this year, and playing them week 3 at home after 2 difficult games. Look, you get a difficult game against the Rams, but at the end of the day, you are home back-to-back weeks. If you're home back-to-back weeks, you got to find a way to win one of those games. The Tennessee Titans cannot go 0-3. I think they're going to go 0-2 personally. Tomorrow's show, 6 p.m. on YouTube. It'll be out whenever you want for the podcast. I'm going to go over my game-by-game record prediction. But for now, I just want to give my early thoughts on the games. And I will tell you that the Indianapolis game in week 3 is an absolute must-win. Now, you go to week 4, and this is why the Indianapolis game is a must-win. because the next 3 games in a row, the Titans are on the road. They go on the road against the Houston Texans, the best team in the division. Awesome. So think about Broncos, Rams, Colts, Texans. Three out of their first 4 games are against playoff teams. Wake me up when September ends. My Lord, what a difficult first month of the season for the Titans. But again, week 4 on the road against the Houston Texans. That's going to be difficult on its own right. It's a division rival game, back-to-back division rival games. But then the Titans have to stay on the road and go out to Arizona and then play against the Raiders. Now, let me say this. Right now, my initial reaction looking at that, I'm like, man, that's 3 straight road games. So the Titans come off a brutal first month of the season, and then immediately in October, they play at Arizona and at Las Vegas. But what could happen is, and what could help the Titans here, in my opinion, this setup actually could help the Titans. They can just stay out west. Just stay out west. You play at Arizona and then Vegas. There's no reason to come back to Tennessee and then go all the way back out there. So in my opinion, I'm saying right now, the Titans need to stay out west, play Arizona, and then play the Raiders the next week. Both of them are 4 o'clock games. So stay on the right schedule. And let me also say this. I talked about a brutal start to the season, but this is the opportunity for the Tennessee Titans to come out of the first 6 weeks of the year 3-3. If the Tennessee Titans come out of the first 6 weeks of the season at 3-3, they are ready to go. They are ready to go. Because I think that the Tennessee Titans can beat the Arizona Cardinals. I think that the Tennessee Titans can beat the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Tennessee Titans can beat the Colts at home. I think the Titans could win all of those games. If they could maybe beat the Texans, maybe you beat the Rams at home, now you're talking about a 4-2 start. But for me personally, just looking at it right now, if the Titans can get 3 wins in the first 6 weeks with the Broncos, the Rams, the Colts, and then road, Texans, Cardinals, Raiders, that would be an excellent start to the season because, in my opinion, while this is a very tough start with the opponents and then the road games, the middle of the season is very winnable for the Titans. And I think the Titans have a chance. The middle of the season, in my opinion, these next 6 games we're going to talk about, they are going to decide whether the Tennessee Titans are going to be on that playoff bubble screen. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but are they going to be in the hunt? Or is Brian Callahan going to be fired? All right, that's what we're going to find out in the middle of the season. I'm going to tell you who the Titans play. Can't wait to dive into it. Let me know what you think of this start to the schedule for the Tennessee Titans. A lot more to discuss on today's schedule reaction edition of Locked On Titans. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players do you think are going to show up in the biggest moments? Well, you can follow throughout the game. Make sure that you bet on them. I like Jalen Brunson from the Knicks. Go Knicks at this point. My Lakers are out. I'd rather see the Knicks win a title, and I'm going to back them with spreads and money lines. Also, if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. You can head to FanDuel.com right now and place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. That's your first $5 bet. If it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Titans fans, fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast, breaking down the Tennessee Titans schedule. We got the first 6 games in the books, went through those. Very tough start to the schedule for the Titans. At the Broncos, home for the Rams, home for the Colts, at Houston, at Arizona, at Las Vegas. 3 away games in a row. But it's the next stretch of the season, this middle part of the season, that I think will really define who the Tennessee Titans are as a team in 2025. And it starts, well, I'm so excited already, I can tell. I'm spitting excited here, folks. But it starts with a home game against the New England Patriots. And folks, this is going to be a massive one. There are Tennessee Titans fans out there that will tell you that this game doesn't matter, it's no big deal, whatever. No, this is going to be a massive game. This is the biggest game of the year for the Tennessee Titans organization, period. Mike Vrabel comes back, and if Mike Vrabel comes back with Drake May and whoops the Titans in Tennessee, that is going to be a disaster. And again, this middle part of the season will tell us whether Brian Callahan is going to be fired or not. Because if he gets whooped by Mike Vrabel, you're going to have a great end of the year to have a chance to keep your job at that point. But then the Titans go on the road again, but they only go to Indianapolis. Not a very far trip, okay? And again, I don't think that the Colts are going to be good this year. I think the Colts are going to be the worst team in the division. I think the Tennessee Titans should sweep the Indianapolis Colts this year. They have a better quarterback finally. So if the Titans imagine if the Titans beat Mike Vrabel at home. Get one of those away games between the Cardinals and the Raiders. Get one. And then you come home, you beat the Patriots, and then you sweep the Colts with that second matchup. That is a very good sign for the Tennessee Titans season. Then they have a home game against the Chargers. And I'm sorry, but I just do not see the Titans as a team that can match up with the Chargers. But hey, they're back at home. They play a very physical opponent. That's what I like about this setup. They play a very physical opponent in the Chargers. And then they get to go to their bye. I said, if the Tennessee Titans had their bye 8, 9, or 10, I would be happy. It's not 11, 12, 13, or 14, all right? I'm not hype, but I'm happy. Week 10 is perfectly fine. And for Week 10 to be the very last rung of my happy tier, I mean, that's almost hype. It's almost. I love that. So that's a great outcome for the Titans to have their bye week in Week 10 because they have a very tough start to the schedule. They have 5 out of their first 8 games are on the road. 5. And 3 of those being Denver, Arizona, Las Vegas. That's a far way across the country for the Titans. Those aren't just regular road games. Those are far. But they knock them all out at the beginning of the season, and then they get a bye in Week 10. And then from Week 10, now it's time to push. But they start with a home game against the Texans, and they have to beat the Texans once, in my opinion, to push for a good season. I don't want to put a number on it or talk about winning the division or making the playoffs, but I'm telling you, for the Titans to have a good season, they got to beat the Texans one time. That'll be a requirement. It just has to. And then they're at home against the Seahawks, which I think is a super winnable game, and that's the game right before Thanksgiving. I do believe, November 23rd. That's either Thanksgiving was a couple of days before or it's, a couple of days after. But right there at that moment, those games where they go New England at home, Indianapolis on the road, home for the Chargers, bye week, home for the Texans, home for the Seahawks. That's 5 home games in 6 weeks and a bye. 4 home games and 1 road game and a bye in 6 weeks. 4 home games. If the Titans don't come out of that 5-game stretch with the bye week, if they don't come out of that stretch with at least 3 wins, Brian Callahan's going to get fired. They have to have at least 3 wins out of that stretch. If you can get 3 wins out of the first 6, like we talked about, and then you can get 3 wins out of the next 5, Now you're 6-5. You know what I mean? If they can get 2 out of the first 6 and then 3 out of these. But either way, for them to have a real chance to be a competitive football team, they need to get 3 out of these 5 games. They have to. You have 6 weeks with 4 home games and then a bye. So 5 weeks out of 6, you're going to be at home. You're going to be in your own bed. You're going to be at your facility. This is a crucial junction of the season for the Tennessee Titans. And it's not just those raw, in a vacuum things. You get, maybe, when it comes to the owner, Amy Adams Strunk, when it comes to the owner of the football team, the 2 games that are most emotionally important to her, the 2 games that are most emotionally important to the owner of the football team is going to be the Mike Vrabel return and the home Texans game. Period. So if you're Brian Callahan, if you go 2-4 in the first 6 weeks with, 4 road games, 2 home games, one of them against the Rams, you go 2-4, I think there will still be some, hey, they're doing an okay job. But even at 2-4, if you come into the next 6 weeks and you go 3-2, you're going to be 5-6 and everyone's going to be hype. But also within that stretch, imagine if they were to go 2-3 and they lose at home against Mike Vrabel and they lose at home against the Texans. Now you're talking about 4-7 with 2 embarrassing home losses, the teams that the owner cares about. Brian Callahan, you might be in some big time trouble. All right, that would be trouble. But what I will say is, with a very difficult start to the season, with a winnable but not super easy middle of the season, but good circumstances for the Titans, the end of the season, the Titans have a real chance, a real chance to build momentum going into 2026, which is going to be maybe more important than anything else. So I'm going to talk about the last 6 weeks of the season with you guys right now. Titans fans, let's cap off today's schedule reaction edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about the tough start for the Titans. We talked about finding truth about who this team is and what's going to happen with Brian Callahan in the middle of the season. But now the back end of the season is all about building momentum for 2026. Look, guys, I know a lot of you don't feel this way. I know a lot of you are just going to be like, they're going to win every game. They're making the playoffs. But I'm not going to be predicting that when we go over how many wins I think the Titans have game by game tomorrow. Do not expect me to have the Titans as a playoff team, winning a bunch of games, all of that. And I say all that for this reason. Because 2026, in my opinion, is a year where we need to hold the Titans to a, hey, you need to be getting close to making the playoffs here. 2023 sucked. 2024 sucked. If they don't make the playoffs in 2025, 2026, you need to make the playoffs. It's time for that. You've had years to build up the team after the old regime was gone. It is time. So what might be more important than anything this season is how the Titans finish and build that momentum to 2026. Even if they go 6-11, even if they go 7-10, even if they go 5-12, 5-12 is, but 6-10, 7-11, or 6-11, 7-10, you know what I'm saying. But even if that's where the Titans are at, if they have a good, strong finish to the season that builds momentum going forward to 2026. Think about the Panthers from last year. If the Titans end their season the way the Panthers ended their season, tough games against good teams, and they're going to get the opportunity. They have winnable games as well. So let's dive into the last 6 weeks. You start with a home game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm sorry, I don't care what kind of team Jacksonville has. The Jacksonville Jaguars will always be beatable by the Titans. Always. Never forget it. The Jaguars will always hate to see the Titans coming. We have ruined so many of their good opportunities and their good moments and good seasons. So I am always going to have a belief that the Titans can beat the Jaguars. The Titans at home against the Jags, Titans are going to win that game. All right? But then they play on the road week 14 against the Cleveland Browns. And let me say, when we talked yesterday about my wish list, almost all of the teams that I wanted to see early in the season, the Saints, the Jags, the Browns, the Seahawks, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Titans got none of them in the first month of the season. So every team that I wanted to see early, the Titans didn't get to see, and all the teams that I wanted to see late, except the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Titans are playing early. So I love that. I should have just said nothing, I guess. The NFL schedule makers wanted to see me in pain. But the Titans get to play the Browns on the road in week 14, right after 3 straight home games. Bye week, home Texans, home Seahawks, home Jags. That is how you turn your season into a good one. And then you're on the road against the Browns. Hopefully, Shedeur Sanders is playing by then, and his, less than strong arm in the December Ohio weather. The Titans should beat the Browns. The Titans should beat the Browns. I don't care if it's on the road. The Titans should beat the Browns in that game. But then, these are the testers. So let's say the Titans do play well through that stretch I just went through. Bye week, honestly, they get 4 home games in a row if you go to the Chargers game. Chargers, bye, Texans, Seahawks, Jags. Home, 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 home. Road against Browns. Then they go all the way to San Francisco. That's a tester. And then they come home and they play the Chiefs on December 21st. That's the tester. How the Titans play against San Francisco and Kansas City. I don't need them to win those games. I don't need them to win. But if the Titans play well and look like a competitive football team against the 49ers on the road late in the season and then the Chiefs late in the season at home, that is how we'll know, okay, this team is turning the corner. They're building serious momentum going into 2025, which may be more important than anything else. Then they finish the season with a home game against the Saints. Super winnable game. I don't think the Saints will be a good team, but again, I would have rather played the Saints early since they'll probably have a young quarterback in. And then they finish the season on the road against Jacksonville. And I wanted to play the Colts at the end of the season. But again, I am never going to say that the Titans, at this point in the game, once we see the season, I'll maybe change my mind. But there is no way at this point in May that I'm going to say there's no way the Titans can't beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. They almost beat Jacksonville with Josh Dobbs in a rigged official job. And they almost beat fully loaded Jacksonville, who won a playoff game. So the Titans will always be Jacksonville's kryptonite. So I have major faith. Now, through the schedule, again, tough start, a mid-season stretch that will really tell the truth about the team and Brian Callahan, and then a great opportunity at the end of the year in the last 6 weeks to build momentum towards 2026 and show that this team is going to turn the corner. Some overall thoughts here. The bye week, I love the bye week. I love where the bye week's at. That's great. The schedule is tough, but I think there are some pockets in here where the schedule isn't as tough as I thought it was last year. I think the beginning of the schedule is very tough, but the overall schedule for me is not super difficult. Now, the thing that everyone is upset about, and I'll talk about here to finish the show, is there's no primetime games. Not a single primetime game. I think I saw the Browns, the Saints, and the Titans are the only teams without a primetime game. And I know that a lot of people are going to get mad and be like, Cam Ward's the number 1 overall pick. How can you not have him in primetime? Blah, 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 blah. I get it. I do get that. But man, the Titans were so bad last year. They were so bad. 3-14, man. And if you're the NFL and you know that you have a team that is not a very popular team that draws interest, that was absolutely terrible last year, that might lay a true egg in a primetime game. Even the Titans' primetime game last year where they scored 30 points, it was a boring game. The Titans looked at that game against Miami last year and said, we can't put these people on TV anymore. So, not that popular of a team. Not very exciting brand of football or good brand of football recently. And maybe the least covered number 1 overall pick in NFL history. It's just a recipe for the NFL not giving the Titans any primetime games. I am not that upset about it, though, because fine then. Let's stay out of the spotlight. Let's earn it then. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I can live with that. Keep the pressure low on Cam Ward throughout the season and let him come out with a bang in 2026 ready to take the NFL by storm. I can live with that. Now, I guess the last thing that I want to say here is, as kind of a preview of tomorrow. Again, I think that there are opportunities for the Titans, but I think the schedule is really tough for Brian Callahan. I think it's going to be tough for Brian Callahan here. So that is all I have to say about tomorrow. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go game by game on tomorrow's show and say whether I think the Tennessee Titans lose or whether I think the Tennessee Titans win the game. So I'm going to give my initial early, I'll change my mind throughout the summer and training camp and preseason, and I'll give a few record predictions, but I'm going to give my game-by-game record prediction for the Tennessee Titans on tomorrow's show. Can't wait to dive into that with you guys, but with that being said, that is going to do it for me today, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.